Today we are back. We are at FC United. We're taking on Salford, a fairly local rival of ours, I suppose you could say. They're in 4th, we're in 1st. There's transfer business to recap, a load of games to talk about, and, oh, did you notice it? We are, at least for now, top of the league. Yeah, let's talk about it. Yes, folks, how is it going? And welcome back. I believe this is episode number 42 of Park to Prem. If it's not, and I've got the number wrong, apologies, counting is hard. We're back here. We're taking on Salford. We've also got a game against Wigan, who we've already played in a live com this year. We scraped by against them previously. We're going to need more of the same today. And, well, I left things last time with us in a really good league position. I was happy as Larry. I'm not sure who Larry is, but I'm as happy as he was. And if we just look at our previous league positions, well, we've managed to maintain our spot at the top of the table. Now, I left things saying, hey, we've got a really good, easy run of games that I should be winning, really, and I'll come back when there's some interesting stuff towards the top of the table. What I would say is, whilst we've only lost 1 game since we were last here, we've drawn a lot. We've drawn 6. In fact, we've only won 5 of our last 12 league games. It's not been all that convincing. I guess the fortunate thing for us is when we win comfortably, and other teams around us haven't exactly been flawless. We'll talk about the games in a second, but just to show you the league table, Charlton do have 2 games in hand. If they win them, they will go back to the top of the table. Elsewhere, Forest Green have played a game less than us, but they are only 2 points behind us. And you've still got Salford, who we take on today, whom, well, if we lose to in the first game, suddenly they close the gap on us to 4 points. And given the fact that I feel like we had an easy run of games, and the second half this season is packed with a lot more difficult games, lots of teams in the top half, a win today is kind of important. I need to maintain that gap on Salford, otherwise things could go south kind of quickly. Now, last time out, we left things with a really critical 2-1 win against Colchester, and to end the month of November, we beat Fleetwood 6-2. We have this habit of having games where we just blow out teams in the first half. This game, absolutely no exception. It was 6-1 at half-time. Yeah, it was one of those games where you have a great first half, you tell the players, I'm really happy, then nothing happens in the second half. But nevertheless, great performance here. Duffy with a 10.0 rating. He's had a very good season so far, I think it'd be fair to say. 11 goals, 4 assists, a 7.28 rating. I will say his performances have dropped off a little bit as of late, but it was particularly pleasing to see him get Player of the Month for the month of November, largely backed and boosted by this performance here. He was absolutely sensational. So after that win against Fleetwood, we went into the month of December with what looked like an easy run of games. It really didn't play out that way. We drew against Burton 1-1. We then drew against AFC Wimbledon, who were right down towards the bottom of the table, 0-0. The goals kind of dried up for a little bit here. There was the odd exception of a game. We did beat Fleetwood 2-1, only a couple of weeks after we beat them 6-2. It was a very different kind of game. I guess the odd thing here is that of all the fixtures we had in the month of December, Oxford United was the most difficult. Oxford were a team at the time going really, really strong. They have dropped off a little bit as of late. As you can see in this game here, top quality performance. Nesbitt with a goal and Stephen Gold with a couple. Gold, by the way, has gone on an insane run of goals, which you might have spotted at the bottom of the fixtures. We'll come to it shortly. He is a man in red-hot form. And, well, unfortunately, that form didn't really last for the entirety of December, because back-to-back games where we failed to score against Milton Keynes and Lincoln City saw us start to wobble a little bit. And that wobble kind of continued into the month of January, where Desmond Tutu would be delighted. We had 3 2-2 draws in a row. We drew against Sheffield Wednesday, Birmingham City and Stockport County. All games where I feel like we were the better team. In this Stockport game, they scored in the 93rd minute. I was very salty, I'm going to be honest. The good news is, after a little bit of a wobble, the goals have started to flow again, and we did keep 1 clean sheet in our 2 most recent games. We beat Port Vale 4-2. Now, they were promoted with us last year, and they were going really strong in the league. They've dropped off the pace just a little bit. They, as you can see here, are now down in 13th, which, to be honest, as a newly promoted team, really isn't that badly. It's also a similar story with Oxford United. It's kind of interesting to note that the teams that got promoted with us and were doing really well at the start of the year have certainly dropped off as this season's gone on. It's like that momentum of the promotion has kind of fizzled out for them, whereas I feel like we've been able to keep it going. And well, if momentum is a thing, I'm hoping that coming into this game today against Salford, we're going to be riding high off our most recent game. 8-0. 8-0. Yeah, you're not misreading that. 8-0 against Wycombe. Crazy game. Nesbitt got 4. Gold got 4. In this situation, how do they decide who gets the match ball? That's what I want to know. Do they do a thumb war? Or, I don't know, slaps? Do people still play slaps? You know, that game where you put your hands and then... is that a thing still? I feel like that was cool 10 years ago. Either way, they need to have a way of deciding who gets the match ball. Gold's been in absolutely sensational form. The performances by both these players, by the way, saw them hit bonus landmarks in terms of seasonal goals payouts. So congrats to them. Delighted they're scoring all the goals and doing really well. The bank balance, slightly less delighted. We're almost up to £1.2 million in debt. Obviously, I'm still spending within the club's means. It's not like I'm splooging money that I'm not being given. But it does continue to be a little bit of a concern. And while speaking of splurging money, some transfers happened over January. Not any first team signings. I'm very happy with the current shape of the first team. But in terms of long-term investments, a couple of players joined us. Samuel Com, talked about him at the start of the season as a player I was very excited about. He has joined us, the young Cameroonian under-23 international, looks like a top-quality player. He is currently out on loan at Fortuna Düsseldorf, and if that sounds familiar, it's because they've got a couple of our players on loan, Samuel Com and Amadou Ba. Ba, by the way, the Guinean international, has had an absolutely sensational loan spell at the club. He's playing as a regular starter, getting plenty of minutes. If only he had a work permit, I'd probably have him playing for us. If we just compare him quickly with Thomas Sang here, you can see... Amadou Ba would really be a useful player for us right now. But unfortunately, the super versatile, either-footed fullback is just vibing in Germany for now. But great to see him developing well. He's been there for 6 months already. We're going to hope that Samuel Com can continue in a similar vein of development, I suppose, to how Ba's developed. Worth noting, he is currently out on international duty, the Cameroon B team. Elsewhere, one more player that I signed and then had to loan out because they didn't have a work permit is Romario Jong Aping. This guy is from Suriname? I'm going to be honest, never signed a player from Suriname before. It's somewhere in North America. I kind of want to go find out where it is. Okay, so apparently Suriname is in South America, but I feel like they play in CONCACAF. I might be wrong. I feel like I found him whilst flicking through all the North American nations. There were players at Costa Rica who you should always check out for good regens, who I wanted to sign. They weren't interested. So yeah, I went to Suriname. I mean, look at that lovely waterfall. It's been a while since we've had a spontaneous geography lesson. There you go. There is where Suriname is on a map. Not even sure I'm saying it correctly, if I'm honest. Either way, he signed from a club called Robin Hood, which I thought was quite a cool name for a football club. He's 19 years old. He's got caps for Suriname at international duty, but still doesn't get a work permit. So he's gone on loan to Leganes. We're going to see what he can do. He is a player with the mentals of, I don't know, a genius, really. I mean, 20 determination, great bravery. His mentals everywhere are very solid. He's also a bit of a set-piece wizard. I'll be honest, besides that, there's not that much else super standout about him. But we've signed him for £30,000. We've spent £20,000 on a work permit attempt. Worst come to worst, I'd like to think we could sell him on for a little bit of money. I feel like I should just record that sentence there and have a button that I press that utters those words of, hopefully we can sell him for a profit because he doesn't have a work permit. Because I do feel like I've said it a lot lately. There is also one more player I've decided to sign. Unfortunately, he isn't going to join us till June, and it's this guy, Junior Siewe. He is a Cameroonian under-23 international, 17 years old, and I've signed him to potentially be kind of the next Nesbitt. That's what I'm kind of labelling him in my head. You can see here, two very, very similar players. Junior is not quite as quick, not quite as good, I guess, on the whole physically, but a very, very good player going forward. He's only 17 years old. It's interesting to note he can play anywhere down the right-hand side, but with his aerial ability and just his raw physicality and decent dribbling, finishing, passing and technique, I feel like he could be a really, really good striker for us. So I think once he joins us, if he gets a work permit, we'll train him to play striker. If he doesn't, we'll loan him to Fortuna Düsseldorf or something. So with those additions to the team, the net spend for the season is actually a massive amount of profit still. £120,000 profit. That is also ignoring the end of last year where, of course, Miguel Martinez and Liam Donaldson left the club for over £300,000. I appreciate with all the young players I've been signing, it kind of looks like I'm just hoarding them in with all the money that we receive. The reality is I'm only reinvesting a very small percentage of the money that we recoup. There wasn't really a temptation to add anyone immediately for the first team this year. Our squad size is nice. There wasn't a load of interest in any of our players. I mean, you can see here, it's a 25-man squad. Pretty much everyone's had some minutes this year, with the exception of the goalkeeping positions. And I don't really want to disrupt things. I feel like in January, you can sometimes risk just over-investing into a squad, trying to improve it too much, and it just massively backfires, and you're kind of sat juggling players' playtime. I'm trying to look at the positives. We're top of the league. We've got the top 2 goal scorers in the league right now, which is amazing to see. In terms of average ratings, we are absolutely dominating it. And I don't want to say it too loudly, but with 15 games left of the year, I am aware that we've got lots of much more difficult games to end the year than what we've just got through. But we're in a really, really good spot right now. But anyway, the board are delighted. They've given me an A+, and I'm ready, I think, to take on Salford City. As I already mentioned, a defeat here would see Salford close the gap on us in 4th place to just 4 points, which would be a little bit scary, if I'm being honest. Even though we've got a game in hand on them, there is potential for the end of the season to get a little bit messy. Charlton have games in hand. No one's really played the same number of games towards the top. And to be honest, whilst we're in a really good spot, we're not even really guaranteed a playoff spot at this moment in time. I kind of look at the teams just outside the playoffs. I'm very conscious of the fact we've still got to play a few of them. Yeah, I feel like a win here would really ease my nerves. Of course, after we take on Salford here, we've also got Wigan. Wigan are in the playoff spots as well. So these are 2 pretty tricky games that kick off a difficult run-in to end the season. In terms of team news, good news, everyone. We're at full strength, so there's not a lot of rotation or just silliness going on. It's a team that I've grown pretty fond of this year. I feel like we've done really well on the whole. O'Donnell has really kicked on, actually, in the last month or so and kind of stepped into his own. He's got 2 assists and 1 goal in his last 5 games. 5 goals and 7 assists total. A 7.12 rating is great to see. Elsewhere, Fuad Souley has just continued to, I guess, do his thing. I mean, he's on a 6.99. He's our defensive midfielder. He's no nonsense. He's very, very good for this level. I talked about him being the non-league Kante at the start of the season. You know, he's not a tall player. He's just a terrier who's going to work hard for the ball in the midfield. And he's done that and a little bit more this year, really. And while Stephen Gold and Nesbitt have been getting a lot of goals, Duffy's shipped in with 11. Butterworth's got 6. It's not a one-man show this year. I feel like there's always a fear where if you're doing really well towards the top of the table, but there's just 1 or 2 players you're relying on, if they suddenly stop performing, you think, oh my God, the whole season could collapse. I don't really have that feeling right now. I feel like we could deal with just about any first team player missing and have someone ready-made to step in. Obviously, I'm hoping that theory isn't going to be put to the test, but I am hoping that today we're going to come through this test with flying colours. Salford semi-local to us. I don't know if you'd call it a derby, but a game that we want to win for sure. 25 minutes in, a throw-in given away. I mean, Salford have just gifted us it. They have just gifted it to us. That was such a short highlight. I was almost caught off guard. I was expecting a nice slow start to a highlight with a throw-in. And instead, I mean, it's a capitulation by Salford. Throw-in attempted to go to Solomon. Nesbitt nips in there. Stephen Gold uses all 5 finishing. By the way, he's got 5 finishing. Tucks it into the far corner. Gives us the early lead. And in a game where there were no highlights in the first 25 minutes, suddenly there's 2 in a row. It's Butterworth, and he's now finding himself at the back post, and he's going to get a goal. O'Donnell with another assist. He might be up to 3 in his last 5 now. He's been really, really solid for us out in the Mazzala role. And again, it all comes from a throw-in on the far side. On this occasion, it was our own throw-in. O'Donnell with the ball in. Butterworth loves the live commentary. I feel like there's some players that step up when I hit the start record button. Butterworth seems to do it on the regular. Well, we're 2-0 up away from home against the team in 4th. Of course, we won our last game 8-0. I wondered, could we keep that going? Not that I'm saying we're going to score 8 goals here, but at least right now we are taking our opportunities and we find ourselves in a really, really good position. But of course, we can't get too carried away as Chaplin has an effort. Kemp, Harris hits it. Oh my word. That was not far wide of the post. Regan Booty inside to the goal scorer Butterworth. Gold floats it towards Nesbitt. It's cleared away, but only as far as Sang, who we know can whip in a ball, and he does so. Nesbitt gets his noggin on it, but again, just over the bar. So at the break here, 2 goals to the good. A super clinical display. We have not created a massive amount of high-quality opportunities, but the few that have come our way, we've stuck in the goal. And elsewhere, Salford going forward themselves, not really done a great deal here. I'm going to tell the players I'm pleased. I don't feel like we need to overcomplicate things. We've played well. Salford really haven't looked particularly good. And, well, we are winning. I think the bad news for us is right now Forest Green and Charlton are also winning. So results of the teams immediately behind us not going our way. But we can only, beat the teams in front of us, I suppose. Well, beat Salford we are right now. But still, a lot of football to be played here. And Harris is through. Fortunately for us, he's going to hit it over the crossbar. That's a little bit of a warning shot, perhaps. And well, we're now going to have our own corner. Regan Booty whips it in gold, hits the woodwork from a header. Tick it off your bingo card, everyone. Oh, I mean, if that goes in 3-0 up, you say game over. It's been cleared away. And now you have to feel, I don't know, a little bit scared, a little bit worried maybe that we're going to live to regret that. Booty now with a free kick from range parried around the post. I mean, we're creating chance after chance after chance. I would desperately like us to score one, though. Could we get something here? No, it's cleared away. And with that, I'm going to make some changes. Nothing too complicated. Taking off Sang and Duffy, bringing in Riches, bringing in Sandbird at right back as well. A couple of players not having the best of games. The rest of the team playing really well. So I don't really want to change things for the sake of changing it. Equally, do want to inject some fresh legs into the final third. And I do feel like Darren Riches with his pace is a pretty mean player to bring on off the bench against a tiring defence. Sam Bird on off the bench, winning the ball and then giving it straight back to them. Not the nest pass by Sam Bird. That pun was awful. I deserve to concede for making that pun. Wasn't even a good pun, was it? Let's be honest. McDonald, good save, bit unorthodox with his leg. 20 minutes left. Can we get the ball away? We can. Oh, I was about to say we can. I was just guessing that we were going to. No, ball headed over. Now we're fine. And now Sam Bird, look at him. Can he use that tweet right foot of his to put in the ball? That was, like sweet tweet. No, okay, stop the puns, Jack. I think I peaked with the first one. Or should I say I beaked with the first one? No, stop. I have issues. I'll tell you what, there's highlight after highlight going on here, and I feel like I'm not really doing it justice. Salford with 15 minutes left, still need 2 goals. Forest Green now 3-0 up in their game. So the team currently second in the league, looking like they're going to romp to a convincing win. I want to say that we're going to do the same, but I feel like with how this game's played out so far, there could be another highlight or 2 still. A 3rd goal, and I will consider it game over. But with this kind of time remaining, there's this fear in my head that we could still bottle it. Let's hope that's not going to happen. Terry Taylor, Riches, they're all having their own little game. Nice spell of possession here, I've got to say. Butterworth plays in Nesbitt. It's a great ball. It's a great finish by Grant Nesbitt as well. Goal number 19 for the season. He is coming for Stephen Gold in the top goal scoring charts. Gold leads the way. Nesbitt's in second. They've both got goals again here. And it's just a really, really nice bit of build-up play. Sustained possession. Butterworth gets the ball in behind Nesbitt, uses his pace, uses his acceleration to get on the end of it, and a really confident finish at the end to make it 3-0. And with that, I think this is game over now. It's the 85th minute. It should all be over. I said we weren't going to get 8, and I don't think we are going to get 8. I know that's a bold thing to say at this moment in time. Wouldn't mind a 4th, though. I feel like at this point, I'd much rather have the clean sheet than another goal. Now, whether or not Football Manager wants to let me have the clean sheet, we're about to wait and see, because High is coming on the overlap for Salford from right back. Going to whip the ball in towards the back post. It goes over everyone. Howell now with the ball puts it into the mixer. McDonald collects confidently. He wants to keep his clean sheet. Now, can he now show a bit of magic with the distribution? He can. He just lumps it long to Nesbitt, who takes it round the goalkeeper and hits the post. I mean, he scored 1 goal today. He has a bit of a habit of missing, I feel like, the one-on-ones in live commentaries. He had a chance to double his goals for the game. He's hit the woodwork. I think that's going to be the last bit of action for the half, though. And with it, a confident 3-0 win. McDonald, by the way, got an 8.2. Salford did have a fair amount of shots on target. We just didn't see them in highlights. But yeah, very, very happy with how we've played there. That was a difficult game, especially away from home. And to beat Salford, I mean, that can only really, really be a good thing. You can see elsewhere, unfortunately for us, Forest Green won, Charlton won, Colchester also won. Did Wigan win too? Wigan won. So all the teams around us except Salford won. So yeah, it's a great win. Don't get me wrong. Would have been much nicer if we could have just built a bit more of a gap, especially because I know we've got Wigan in this next game coming up. So Nesbitt got man of the match, a goal and an assist to his name, and elsewhere we've maintained our unbeaten run. Lots of draws in there, far more draws than I would like, but 7 games unbeaten. We're on some good form, and as you can see it here, we recorded an important win. It was the key match of the day. I guess that means we're first on the League One equivalent of match of the day in 2030. Yeah, really, really good performance. Charlton elsewhere, they've got these games in hand. If they win them, they're going to go ahead of us. But we can only really focus on what we're doing. And with that in mind, we're going to get forward to the next game. We are going to be taking on Wigan Athletic. They are in 6th. We are in 1st. It's a week away. We can rest up the players. And, well, I'll join you for that in just a mo. Okay, gang, we are back, and the hunt for bargains doesn't ever stop. It might be the middle of February, but I still like to just look around national teams and clubs that I know I can sign players for as a League One club. So if you're in League One doing a Park to Prem save, go to kind of North America, the lesser nations like Suriname, Costa Rica. Occasionally you can sign players from Africa. As I think we've shown, there's quite a few players you can sign from Africa who are pretty good. But also, Scandinavia and the Nordic nations start to become a little bit of an option. And FC Nordsjælland are a team that have insane facilities in-game. They're one of a few teams that I was looking at just whilst having a flick through the Danish kind of under-21 setup here. And I saw this 16-year-old who was valued fairly cheap at the time. I think his value's actually gone up. His name's Carl Monster, which I think was another reason I clicked on him. His contract was expiring at the end of the year, so I'm trying to sign him on a free transfer. Now, I'm paying for a work permit, which is £20,000. I'm hoping that even if it's turned down, he'll want to join me. Otherwise, I've wasted £20,000. But I went and looked at him and thought, he's pretty good, isn't he? 16 years old, 18 determination, good teamwork, etc. So then I went back and had a look at his kind of fellow teammates at Nordsjælland because they produced some good players. And the senior team didn't really have anyone. But in the under-19s team, they had this guy called Jakob Gahl, who's 16 as well, a centre mid. I really, really like the look of both these guys. So I sent scouts to go and have a look at them. This guy's really green for consistency, lots of potential, a little bit kind of worried about his lack of determination and ambition. But for a free transfer, I mean, £20,000 for the work permit, but for a free transfer, because his contract is also expiring, absolute bargain. So, yeah, two players who might be joining us. I don't think they can join us until they turn 18, so it will be next summer, but nothing wrong with planning for the future, as we've already established. I feel like I need to go on that TV show, My Strange Addictions, and just talk about my desire and need to just sign regens that don't get work permits that could end up being good punts. I guess in my head, and I've talked about this a lot, my mindset is if one of these players I sign can be sold for £1 million at some point in the future, which, I don't know, I'd like to think that's more than possible, we will at least make some money back on all the players we've signed as a total, and hopefully maybe one or two of them actually end up being good enough for the first team and eventually get work permits. I will say, this was all a lot easier before Brexit really changed how you have to approach a save in England. But anyway, I need to get my head in the game here. We are taking on Wigan Athletic. They are in the playoffs. We are in the automatic promotion spots. In terms of team selection, I'm not changing anything from the last game. We just demolished the team 4th in the league away from home. And I'm hoping that we're going to do the same again here away from home against the team in 6th. Of course, we've already played Wigan once this year. They lost to us 1-0 on that occasion at home. We can potentially lose our lead at the top of the table here. So I want to remind the players of that and try and get them motivated as we get into this game. Of course, there is still a hell of a lot of football to be played between now and the end of the year. Perhaps worth acknowledging, Charlton have played one of their games in hand. They did win it, I believe. So that's not ideal. They're now breathing more and more down our necks, and it kind of does feel like we are the second place team in the league rather than the top team, which I know is what the league table says right now. So, yeah, win here important. Let's not throw it away early. Wigan with the first chance of the game. They didn't take it. Let's see if we can maybe score with our first chance of the game. Lots of players committed to the attack. Duffy is one of them. Gives it to O'Donnell. Tight angle. Needs to be able to pull it back. Doesn't do so initially, but a chance maybe to get the second ball into the box. Again, it's blocked by Wigan, who are now going to break with a lot of players, and it's Dahl to Travis. Lots of space ahead of him. Can McDonald make a crucial save? In fact, the ball goes wide. It goes to Martelli, and he's just hit the crossbar. That was, you know what, 4 minutes in, not really liked what I've seen here. I do like what I'm seeing here, though. It's a corner. Stephen Gold gets there, goes over the bar, and there's a fourth highlight of the game. It's 6 minutes in, and then we're on the fourth highlight. At the rate we are here, but this episode's going to last like an hour, just with highlight after highlight after highlight. Sang with the ball to Butterworth. What can he do? Gives it to Booty, but it does fall back to Butterworth fortuitously. Lots of options in the middle. He floats it towards the back post, and Nesbitt misses the target with his header. Nods it just wide of the far post. Half an hour into this game now. This game's kind of fizzled out in terms of the number of highlights, but plenty of opportunities for both teams. We've had 64% of the ball here. We've really ratcheted up the pressure as this half's gone on, and well, we have a chance here. Ball floated back post towards Nesbitt, hits the woodwork, and Terry Taylor flubbed his lines, couldn't get the ball under control. It's cleared off the line, and a great opportunity is squandered for us. At the break here, it's 0-0. I think I caught that in the Charlton game, it's currently 2-2. So they are not winning either right now. In fact, we don't need our own formation. Let's look at the latest scores. Okay, Charlton actually got a goal right before half-time. So they are now even on points with us with a game in hand. And elsewhere, Forest Green are winning 4-0 against Sheffield Wednesday. So now they're even on points with us as well. You can really see how the top of the table is just an absolute mess right now. Yeah, the last 13 games of the season might get rather intense. And I realise I'm sat here talking away. We've almost played through the entirety of the second half and absolutely nothing has happened. We've got to change things up here. Nesbitt's not had a great game. I'm going to bring in Maitland. Elsewhere, Rich is in for Duffy. Butterworth's on a booking, but I'm going to hope he can remain well behaved. I'm going to drop Fuad deeper and then move Booty and Sang higher up the pitch to try and get a goal here. I feel like this is a chance maybe for us to win this game. We've been on top. We've been the better team. Let's try and get the ball forward a little bit quicker. Maybe commit our men in the wide area up the pitch that little bit more and see what we can do. It's the 85th minute. The rain is lashing down here now. The ball punched by the goalkeeper. If you don't know, when it rains in Football Manager, goalkeepers do punch the ball more. And the good news for us is they punched it straight to us. And Sang gives it to Maitland on off the bench. My little mate, not for the first time this year, coming up with a clutch late goal against a team that, let's be honest, at the start of the year, we would not have dreamed of being able to beat like this. It's a fantastic volley as well by Maitland. And you know what? I want to pause this immediately and move everyone back. Let's just, Booty, go to support, Sang. You've got your assist now. You've done your job. Go back. Elsewhere, you know what? We'll keep the diamond. But we are just going to lower the tempo, stop passing it into space, time waste more. Let's manage the last 5 minutes of this game against Wigan. This would be a huge result. We beat them 1-0 previously. We're going to beat them 1-0 again. Maitland on off the bench for the goal. I think we deserve that at the end of the day. Unfortunately for us, I think both Charlton and Forest Green managed to get wins themselves. But we are still top of the table, 2 points clear. And it is very quickly looking like it's going to become a three-horse race between the favourites, or one of the favourites, certainly at the start of the season in Charlton, and then ourselves and Forest Green as well. Two slightly less likely candidates. Forest Green at the start of the season predicted to finish 10th. They've done pretty well. So another win, another clean sheet. That is now 3 in a row. And I feel like we're finding some really good form at a really good time. So in terms of when we're going to be back next episode, we have got Forest Green and Charlton inside the next month. And whilst they're not back-to-back games, they are the 2 games we are going to do next time. They are going to be real tests. It is also worth acknowledging that our final 2 games of the season are against Birmingham and against Colchester. 2 teams currently in 5th and 6th. You might remember at one point I was looking at the Birmingham City job. They were down right at the bottom of the table. They have gone on this crazy run of form, and I'm a little bit fearful they are going to be a team that just come out of absolutely nowhere and potentially push us hard at the end of the season, especially because, as I've already mentioned, there is still quite a lot of football left to be played here. Anyway, folks, that wraps up everything from me today. Have a lovely weekend. Back on Monday with more action. Next week is going to be a massive one for Park to Prem. You're not going to want to miss it. And until I see you guys next time, it is me, Jack. I'll talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.